Hello there, and welcome to a very special episode of Euro Truck Simulator 2. It is the 10th anniversary of the game, apparently. And we are doing an external contract from anywhere to anywhere. We're going from Prague to Calais, in our case, because that's what was available. And that will unlock a special reward, truck and trailer paint jobs, as a community event. So we're just going to get underway. Got a long way to go, so we're just going to get started. Yeah, it was October 2012, apparently, is when the game first released. We're not stopping for traffic lights because we've got a long way to go. And then it came out on Steam in January 2013. I can't remember when I actually picked it up. I think I bought it probably on a Steam sale, I imagine. I still had the original Euro Truck Simulator that I would have been playing, that and American Truck Simulator, the 18 Wheels of Steel would have been back at the time, I think. But I remember being really impressed by how they'd managed to render everything. Of course, back in those days, originally, it was on disc. You actually bought it on disc. I only picked it up when it was actually on Steam, so I don't have a retail copy lying around. That would be a bit of a collector's item, wouldn't it? So we're going to be speed limited to 90, so we're just going to take it easy. And enjoy the view. The game's certainly come a long way in graphical ability and how things look. In fact, I need to check my settings, and I'm going to crank everything up, which I don't always do. But we're going to make sure that we've got some of this stuff on high. Vegetation detail on high. All of these are at high and ultra. Mirror resolution I don't mind about though. And we're going to move my window back where it was. And now we can appreciate a little bit more stuff on the side of the road. There we go. Now we've got fields. Setting off nice and early in the morning, so this should be pretty much a full day adventure, I think. Tell you what, we'll pull over into the slow lane. What would be quite interesting, actually, is to go into Depot Downloader and find the earliest version of the game can possibly find that's still available as a Steam depot. And get, like, version 1 and boot it up and see what it looks like. That might be a project for another day. For this event, it needs to be an external contract, which means having a connection to your World of Trucks account. So you would have to be on the latest version, I believe, for that to count. Not sure whether or not it works on beta opt-in versions. I believe if you're doing the open beta of the next version, it won't count. So I imagine it's only this version that actually has the code in the game to be able to transmit when the right event trigger has been hit. And hopefully we're not going to hit traffic. Sunrise. In fact, you know what? Photo studio. Which way? This way. Which is it to go up Q? How far back can we go? Not really far enough. Let's get some of those sun rays in. Oops, wrong way. And now we need field of view. Ah, there we go. That gets us nice and wide. Blur transition. We don't want blur, really. Maybe a little bit in the distance. But we want the truck in focus, that's for sure. Lovely. Where were we? Coming up to the border crossing. Kind of fortuitous in some ways that the game came out post-EU. Having to do border crossings for every single country would have been a little bit nasty. It's kind of what you had to do in the original Euro Truck Simulator. I don't think you had to stop at borders, but you had to unlock countries, and I think that emulated the idea that you would only have contracts for operating within a certain area, and therefore getting clearance to actually ship to other countries. Of course, in the EU, there's not really any such restriction anymore. Makes for a much more open game. Of course, in the more recent expansions, you do have some border crossings at for Kaliningrad and for Bulgaria and Istanbul. Turkey, that is. If they continue to spread into more non-EU areas, then presumably there may be more. One day I hope that there will be border crossings in American Truck Simulator 2 as well. I'd love to pop over the border into Canada. And possibly even down into Mexico. That would be quite interesting. It is, after all, American Truck Simulator, not USA Truck Simulator. To be fair, this is Euro Truck Simulator, so adding in things more into Asia starts to get a bit more contentious, perhaps. But I think few people would complain if they were expanding the map that direction. It would be really interesting, actually, having the ability to take the ferry from like southern Spain down to Morocco or something. Which way am I meant to be going here? I'm meant to keep going straight. Okay. This is why I should have my GPS on this view instead of the zoomed out version, so that I can actually see where I'm going. Normally I also have my GPS voice on, but I've got that turned off at the moment. Certainly a lot more background scenery than there ever used to be, which is really nice. They've definitely made a lot more efforts over the years in adding personality to the areas that you drive through. Back in the original Euro Truck Simulator, it was very cookie cutter. And even in the original DLCs, or original base map and early DLCs, there was some special features added, and elements of terrain and landmarks. But certainly not to the extent that they have now. Obviously, as soon as it went digital, you opened up to a huge opportunity in having more assets in the game. And even just in the last few versions, the sizes of each DLC has gotten progressively larger, that's for sure. It's quite noticeable. Since I speedrun the game, we often have earlier versions that we do speedruns on to avoid map changes. Or changes to the game engine. And I think the version 1.32 is only like 2 gigs. And the current version is more like 7. And that ramped up within a pretty short space of time. But we've just got much higher texture quality, better asset definitions, and just a lot more available in the game from the Black Sea DLC and the Iberia DLC. Obviously now they're preparing to have the, well, I can't remember what they're calling it, but it's basically the Slavic States DLC. I really wish that it was including Greece. I'm not quite sure why it doesn't. Feels strange that that would be one by itself. But I am looking forward to having that particular gap in the map filled in. Straight through up here. Should make slightly better than expected time because we're going 90 when the speed limit is apparently 80, so that's an extra 12% or so. Start cutting some corners to shave even more time off. Does not take very long at all for me to start wanting to use some speedrun straps. We don't have any runs where you have the speed limiter on because that would be a bit meh. Not as exciting. More technical though, to be fair. It would be much more important. It's kind of like a glitchless Subnautica run where you don't have the Super Sea Glide. That's your speed limiter. Your movement becomes very important in terms of taking angles and such. Be straight through this one as well. This is a pretty simple motorway blat, I think. I don't think there's too much route variation. I'm just going to cut off some traffic here. Theoretically, it would be faster to cut through the little exit bit there, but a little bit more traffic that way. Nice castle up on the hill there. Both sides, actually. And now some traffic to weave through, apparently. Struggling a bit up the hill. We like these stretches because we're going downhill slightly, which means it actually lets us go a little bit faster than we're supposed to. Limited to 90, but we get to push up to just 94. That's big valley here. I love these viaducts and everything that you go through. Really love to get back over to Europe at some point. I would go nuts with my camera. This is where it averages out in terms of the route estimate, because we can't even go 80 up these hills. There's one of the new interchanges that I've not yet been on. We might at some point have to dedicate ourselves to another 100% map exploration effort, since the one that I did to actually get the Pathfinder achievement back in the day, before I installed the... I think it was before Italy and Baltic. I had the DLCs, but I held off installing them because I was trying to explore the map. I did do the exploration and got the Pathfinder achievement on stream, but I don't believe I highlighted the videos, so they are lost to the winds of the digital desert, unfortunately. So we might need to try and aim for that again, because that was a bit of fun. We were trying to do it with the trailer on deliveries as much as possible, which was an interesting element. Mostly using external contracts, so we didn't have to worry about the amount of time that it takes to do the delivery. So it was a case of a lottery of getting jobs that went where we wanted to go, and then maneuvering our way around intersections to try and uncover every little part. Because when you're trying to get the 100% map exploration achievement, you have to bear in mind that most of the intersections, especially now, you have to go on every single part of them. And that means coming from every which direction. The big clover leaf ones are the best because you can actually get from every road, from every other road, without having to worry about crossing center lines or anything. Like what's coming up here. But like the one just back further, the rest stop, and the one prior to that, you can't do that. It becomes interesting. It's I mean, the achievement is called Pathfinder, and that's a great name for it. I'm not sure how much we've got remaining at the moment, but of course every new DLC and every new map change that they make, such as to Germany, and they recently redid all of Austria pretty much, so all of my progress in Austria has been reset. So it's always a moving target. Once you hit it once, that's all that matters. So if you are looking at playing this game and want to get the 100% exploration achievement, uninstall all DLC before you start playing, create your account, work towards the achievement, and then expand the map. And from there you can explore. It's honestly a good way to play for the first time anyway, because otherwise if you were to buy the game and all of its DLCs now, and install all the DLCs and create an account in that massive map, it's very overwhelming in some respects. And I feel starting with just the base game is actually a good way to go. I think when I started, it also had the Going East DLC. I think I had Poland to start with. And that's not too bad. That's just a little bit extra. But by the time I started actually doing the map exploration achievement, I had France and I had Scandinavia added on as well. And that added quite a lot. And then after I got the 100%, I installed these Baltic and Italian DLCs, and my map exploration immediately went from 100% down to 66%. The map size essentially halved itself again. It was like 150% times the road area. And now, of course, if we went from the base game plus East, Scandinavia and France, and then added on Baltic, Italia, Black Sea, and Iberia, it would more than double. So if you start with just the base game, and then you can do the all capital cities speedrun as well. We do have variants for some of the other DLC, but funnily enough, the original is the most popular because it's the quickest. Well, this is a new stretch of road, which is nice. I am going to resist the temptation to go into the rest area and explore all of that map area. That'll just have to be done another time. There's a few too many fingers of that to work out. We'd have to do the rest of the interchange up here at some point anyway. Because we are leaving this road and moving on to the next. Railway viaduct up there. Probably a new feature. given that we're on undiscovered roads again now. All of this would have just been real cookie-cutter template roading, and it's recently been all upgraded, so it's now a bit more bespoke, and they generally try and make it a lot more indicative of the area that you're actually driving through, which is a good touch. And I love that they've been going back to the old areas and doing that. I really, really want them to do that in the whole area of Great Britain that they have, or preferably do that as a preferably free DLC expansion where they also added in a little bit more of Wales and like the Isle of Man and Ireland and a couple more cities in Scotland. Because at the moment the furthest north you can go is Glasgow in the west and Aberdeen in the east. You should really be able to drive from Aberdeen around the hills to Inverness, and you should be able to loop down from Inverness down through past Loch Ness. Preferably through Oban as well would be nice, but failing that, at least from Inverness down to Glasgow. Over to the Isle of Skye would be good as well. I mean, they need to have goods delivered somehow, and they use trucks to do it, so... And then catching the ferry across to Belfast from Glasgow, or Dublin from Liverpool, be really cool. And then just have some of the main cities, Waterford, Cork, Limerick, Galway. You could do a lot. It used to be that they would only feature some of the largest of the cities available, so they really skimped on places that actually got featured a lot of the time. But the more recent DLCs, the bar has really been lowered, I feel, by some of the places that have been featured in likes of Black Sea, Iberia. I mean, Finland, for example, has 9 or 10 towns that you can make deliveries between, and most of them are very small in real life. But they've been included because it's all part of the character of the country, and it makes sense that they should be included. And they've been doing a little bit of that in the kind of Western Europe areas. But I feel there's definitely a lot more scope of places they could add in the UK, and kind of the British Isles in general. Poland is another big one, where there's only like 4 cities in the entire country, and there should be like a dozen, ideally. Obviously with the British Isles, the map scaling does play against in some respects, because you've got the 1 to 20 scaling. But there's still spots that you could fit a few more in, you could squeeze them in. But the likes of Poland, it's such a large landmass, you've got plenty of space in between to be able to add more towns in. So here's one of the more template intersections. This is just the cut and paste template that they used to use. And then the town up here, Liège, you've just got single interchange with a sort of blocky city around the outside. And that, again, is pretty much the classic old template. So it'd be interesting to see if they are redoing some of these towns and cities as well. Because they have done a lot of the extra ones in France already. They redid Lyon almost completely, I believe. But I mean, that's all that you need to do to add in some of the smaller towns, is just have just a little industrial area with just a garage, preferably a services, and then just a couple of depots that you can make deliveries to. And preferably just a little bit of a surrounding area. And then it's just the backdrop as well, like you've got over here. You've got the city over there. That is also Liège. So that's the other half of it. Big control tower, must be the airport up here. There you go. Liège Airport, in fact. So I've got that as a landmark. Little touches like that really help to just bring life to the environment. Lovely sunflower field. Tractor in the field over there. Farming simulator may be coming soon. And we got another 12 minutes or so of travel time. So apparently, this journey is a little bit longer than I expected in terms of needing to rest. But we might be able to just push on. 3 hours 21, 1 hours 30. Tricky. We're passing a rest area up here. There's a gas station, you can usually stop at those to sleep. Hot air balloons, lovely. Places like that, it would be nice if they added some viewpoints into more areas of the old Eurotruck places. Just stop on the side of the road and take a virtual hot air balloon trip. It'd be quite nice. Time to hop into the cab again for this bit. Follow the helicopter up. Honestly, this is where I think I just leave it in sequential so it doesn't keep trying to change gear. Let's just stay in 8th for now. Okay, now we can swap it back. Fortunately, that means that the last of our trip's probably going to be at night. Whoa, okay. Didn't realise that guy was slowing down so much. That was a bit bizarre. Yeah, you can get out of my way now. Not quite sure why the car was stopping so quickly. Can I still get to the rest area if I also fill up with gas? Looks like maybe not. Just as well we can drive off-road. Oh no, there's the parking just up here at the end. It only indicates it on the right-hand side. But there's parking right here. Yeah, late night, unfortunately. We can sleep twice, technically, otherwise. That's fine. We'll do some nighttime driving for now. Just the final section. Chuck the high beams on, you can see a little bit further. Still doesn't do as much as you might want. Another undiscovered area, because they completely redid Lille as well, that's right. Which lane do we want to be in? I think this one as well. Yeah, Calais, there we go. 5 minutes to go, including parking time. Tunnel sous la Manche. We're not taking it, but it is the way to the Channel Tunnel. Unfortunately, there's a railing here, so we can't cut the corner down to the other part of the motorway. Never mind. There we go. Barely stopped in time. Let's get a little bit more distance, shall we? Home stretch. Take it easy on the way into Calais. And here we are. Of course, the place to actually check in is not right in front of the gate, for some bizarre reason. Sure. And now we just have the parking. It's always tricky at night. Especially since we have the big box disabled. Which side of that trailer is it? Is it this side or is it the other side? I think it might actually be the next one along. Yes. Judging by the map directions. So we want to turn after the other two trailers. See whether or not the reverse lights. Yes, pick up the markers. There we go. And straight. Easy does it. Voila. And I think that was damageless. On the delivery, at least. We took a couple of points from that car, but voila. Legend. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. That was 10 years of ETS2. Next video, I think we're going to try it and see if we can rustle up the version 1 of the game and launch that. Set up a save so that we're doing a similar delivery from Prague to Calais. Because I'll be very interested to see the comparison, side by side, to be able to see what it looked like and how far they've come. Until then, take care of yourselves, and see you next time.